Hi everyone, this is my first tutorial, so I'm kind of nervous, and I hope that this is helpful, and I hope that me sharing a little bit of my technique gives you some insight. What I'm doing is I'm filling up these receptacles so that I don't have to measure resin every time that I want to pour a small amount to do a cup turning pour. So what I'm doing is I'm using large syringes, and I'm using craft resin because I really love the low viscosity for doing cup pours. So I'm taking these bottles and I'm putting them in syringes that are already pre-marked and ready to go. So I make sure that the marking is the same for the A to A and the B to B to make sure that I put the resin in the correct receptacle and the hardener in the correct receptacle. So that I can use these syringes over and over and over again and just refill them every time I want or need new craft resin bottles. You see me here filling the A bottle into the A syringe, and it's using quite a bit of the bottle, so I'm just filling that up as I go. And it's very important to make sure that each of your syringes is filled to the same level. When you are pushing out the amount of resin that you want, the benefit, the reason that I do it, is so that I don't have to use a measuring cup to mix in. So you want to make sure that you're using the exact same amount of A and B. And if you have exactly the same amount in the syringe, and then you push out the same amount from each syringe, basically you're measuring it from via the syringe instead of needing to use a measuring cup. I find this to be so useful in making smaller amounts of resin. Next, the plunger part needs to be added to the syringe, which is a little tricky. So I have tape on the top of the syringe to keep any of the liquid from going out of the bottom before I create the vacuum seal with the bottom of the plunger. So what you need to do is put the plunger in and make a good solid connection before you turn it upside down and remove the tape from the top to release the vacuum so that you can push the syringe into it and release all of the air, which is what I'm doing here. I also keep a paper towel handy because you're definitely going to have some resin that's going to come out of the top. And still, for the benefit of being able to do this, I mean, this creates many pours that I can do from this one syringe. So the value is so significant. And I really like mixing in small paper cups. You'll see me do this in a little while, and I'll explain why when I get there. So this is, I'm putting the plunger into the bottom of the syringe. It's already made a vacuum connection, so there's no chance of it leaking out the bottom. And I'm pushing out the air through the top carefully, right up until you get the resin to the nozzle of the syringe. And then I look at how much volume or how much liquid is in the syringe so that I can make sure and fill B to the exact same amount. Now I'm going to place that to the side, and I'm going to repeat the process with the hardener also marked as B. I find a lot of advantages to doing this the way that I do, especially when you're not using a very large amount of resin. First of all, it just really makes it easy if you're measuring out a small amount. Trying to measure into a tiny measuring cup can just be ghastly. So I really like it for that application, and I'm cup turning a lot lately, so that this is so useful. But also, I don't like picking up a resin bottle and it having sticky on my gloves before I even get started. I really like to keep my gloves very pristine while I work. So I don't like when I'm getting started mixing, and you pick up the resin bottle and then you have some sticky on your hand and you already have to clean before you even do anything. So that really drives me crazy. I don't know if it bothers anybody else. But so I find this way the syringes are very, very clean, and there's no sticky. So my gloves stay clean right up until I put them in the resin when I'm doing the cup turning, because of course I'm using my fingers and stuff on the cup. And I'll probably make a video of that this coming week. So this is the repeating the process and putting in the plunger on the B and then turning it over. You see all that air. I had a little bit of trouble with the tape on the top of this thing. It just did not want to come up. So, you know, that's going to happen. But I would much rather the tape be persistent than it have a leak. So, you know, what can you do? I think I ended up having to get the scissors out to, yes I did, to get the vacuum to break so that I could get the plunger in. Because, you know, it's kind of a sensitive space when the plunger isn't actually all the way in. You don't have a really good vacuum seal yet. So, this was me doing that, trying to get the tape off. And, you know, all of you crafters probably understand things just never go how you quite expect them to, especially when it matters and when you're on video. So I realize at this point that I have a little bit more of B in the syringe than I do of A, and so that I don't have to really pay so much attention to it during my pours, I want to just take a little bit out to make sure that they have exactly the same amount in them. You could do this process with either one to get them to the exact amount that you need. And you could actually use the syringes as a measuring cup by just putting in exactly the amount that you want of each and then pushing it out. But I think that probably wouldn't be saving you any time or energy if you're using the entire syringe. So now I'm cleaning off the syringe, and they have exactly the same amount in them, so it will make it super easy for me to just push out a little bit from each syringe, paying attention to how much I'm pushing out, and then just mix it in the paper cup, which I'll show you here very shortly. I have finished filling the bottles and it's time for cleanup. I absolutely love hand sanitizer. Any of the gel-like hand sanitizers, I've used a bunch of different brands and they all work great. I don't use this on my skin. I have a different technique, and I'll do that video if anybody's interested in it. But if I'm cleaning up my gloves or my tools and cleaning off the syringes, I absolutely love the hand sanitizer plus paper towel combo. Is really, really good for cleaning it right up and cleaning off the sticky and taking it away. I like having a receptacle to hold these guys that's tall enough and heavy enough that it will support them so they don't fall over, because they're top heavy. They can stand on their own, but I typically don't leave them that way. So I like having a sturdy, tall, not too wide base for them to sit in so that they will stay upright. Okay, so paper cup. It is just a paper bathroom cup, and I'm using my favorite stir stick. So craft resin, when they send you a box of craft resin, sends you the stir stick and these great white gloves that I have on. The gloves are so awesome. They don't get all sticky on your hands like other ones do on the inside, because, you know, we all do a little bit of sweating when we work out in our hot rooms doing resin. So I love being able to take off the gloves and they're not all sticky. And this is me using craft resin mica. They sent me this beautiful box of all of these different wonderful flavors of mica. Flavor is probably not the right word. Don't eat the mica. But colors. And I absolutely loved this olive green. I thought it was so great. And I am pouring a cup for my best friend for Mother's Day. She is just the best mom ever. She's got 4 precious girls, and she is just such an amazing woman. I feel really blessed to have her as my bestie. Now, this is me denoting where the plunger's at when I start, and then I determine how much, based on the measuring lines, I determine how much I want to extract from it, and then I extract the exact same amount from A and B. I mix this part really well after I take in the amount that's needed, and I mix for 3 minutes, and then I give it a fair bit of time, probably like 5 minutes or so, to rest and for the bubbles to come to the top. But really, with craft resin, there's hardly any bubbles. It's such a dream to work with. The low viscosity makes it so easy for the bubbles to come to the top. Also, the low viscosity is really, really easy on my hands. I have a little bit of arthritis because I'm getting older, hate to admit, and the thinner viscosity on the craft resin just makes it so easy to just mix up a small batch without my hands hurting, and I just love that. I really, really do. It used to feel tedious to go in and make a small batch of resin and have to mix the crap out of it, and then, all the bubbles, but just so thick and so hard to mix that I wouldn't want to do that more than 2 or 3 times in a day. Now it just feels so easy to go in and mix up a batch of resin and throw something on the cup turner. Go! Especially with all this beautiful mica that they sent me. So this is me finally deciding I've had enough of that tape, and it just has to go because I'm a little OCD and it's driving me crazy. So I'll get there soon enough. Now be sure that after you get the resin in the cup that you mix it for a good 3 minutes. It's really important for it to be well incorporated. Scrape the sides of the cup, scrape the bottom, and this is why I use the type of cup that I do. The paper cups don't have any ridges. The bottom is flat, the sides are flat. It's really, really easy to just mix it. I also accidentally got some of that tape in it. Whoops! No one will know. Anyway, so when you're mixing up the resin, be sure and scrape the cup. And I found using different types of things like solo cups and stuff like that that have ridges on the bottom, you get resin in those places that doesn't cure. And some of that sometimes lands on a piece, and that's just really unpleasant. So I like a cup that has really flat sides and a really flat bottom. And these paper cups, because I'm not using it as a measuring cup, I can use this over and over and over and over again. And I let the resin there's not much left over because I'm not doing a very big pour. But whatever is left over, I leave it in the bottom so that I don't have to clean out a cup. I find cleaning out silicone cups to be very tedious. And you will find in my videos, a lot of the things I do and the ideas I come up with are how to build a better mousetrap with resin. I have been doing this for 4 years now, maybe longer, and I hate doing the tedious stuff, so I try and find better solutions wherever I can. And the paper cup is a fantastic, cheap, easy, reusable for many pours. And then if you want to, you can cut off the paper and you can sand it down, and you can use the resin that's layered up on the inside, and it makes beautiful jewelry. It's a great size circle. Now I'm mixing in the olive mica from Craft Resin. The box of resin that they sent me is so incredible. It has glow-in-the-dark resin. There's 30 different colors of resin, and every one that I've used is prettier than the next. They are just so gorgeous. I'll have a link down underneath my video if you want to take advantage of my connection with them and get a discount. I thank you so much for your time and your interest in my video. I would love it if you would click on that subscribe. I will be posting videos like crazy very soon.